Hey guys, and welcome to part 4 to what if Naruto died in the wave and went back in time and became female. If you want to know what happened in the last parts, then there will be a link in the description down below, or you can watch this one all the way through to the end, where then there will be a link on the end screen cards. With that way, let's get into this. So, a month would go by from when they had returned, from back. When they returned from the land waves, and of course, somewhat doing that, month they had to use a 1 week break, in which during that break, Kakashi somewhat remembering that he didn't get around to asking Naruto, somewhat about kind of abilities with lightning manipulation and that, and kind of what she could just, do completely. Now was a better time than anything, so someone went and asked her, and should say that she had she has level 2 lightning manipulation and level 1 in earth manipulation, and which should tell Kakashi roughly when she'd achieved both of those, to which Kakashi would ask how come she, stopped then, with earth manipulation. Didn't she state that she had, some other stuff kind of on that was slightly more, she was training in somewhat slightly more important kind of stuff that would get, that would somewhat help with her chakra control and manipulation potentially. And somewhat as such, kind of stopping, Earth at level 1 was more than enough, as after all it was just more of a defensive type ninjutsu. Ninjutsu then really, somewhat, then attacking all that. To achieve somewhat not understanding, and they would also kind of say what, or at least Hiruzen had told her when he wanted to, talk to her, when he'd call her back to the office, which was just simply about kind of potentially, how to deal with, the amount of someone, killed, the death and that she'd caused the killing. And also that, as, they as a team complete more missions, and of course she gets more, known, and that eventually there will be a bounty on her head, as, right this second, she's just in the bingo book as a warning to not kind of, cross or that. And that eventually she will get a bounty on her head in the bingo book, and thus then, people will probably start to, try and come after her. And yeah, though both, of course, Kakashi and Hiruzen knew that was kind of unlikely. After all, there was a warning in there, but the only people that would go after her were really, idiotic people, these stupid people who believed that, believed it was, an estimating her abilities, or, well, yeah, that, or just, or just, I don't know, other, people, or that, just wanting, to, show that to her, she's only getting, just got, a lucky shot, and that, those that are kind of more somewhat arrogant and not kind of that trusting of, sort of the book and that, and to, someone wouldn't be, wary of her, would be underestimating her. And then there'd also be, the potential, Ashrank Shinobi in that, of course. And, yeah. And, yeah, she's somewhat not, even though, of course, hearing it from Kakashi, someone would be, of course, a second time, and, yeah, though you would somewhat understand that they're only saying it because, it's, like they're, somewhat concerned for her. After all, she's just kind of, getting in. And, yeah, though, after that, and after the week break was up, Kakashi would give his team, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, the chakra paper, the paper that reacts with chakra, and with that he would it would just check on their elemental or somewhat affinities to it. Sakura's is fire, Sasuke would be lightning, and Naruto would have wind. Though a small lightning affinity a small lightning affinity would kind of show up to just somewhat because Sasuke would be a bit jealous that she'd have to, though Kakashi and even Naruto himself would just stay, seeing these small lightning would just say that, or at least, Kakashi would, that the only reason, or at least they'd, somewhat seen, or at least, seeing that, he'd go, well, I guess it's understandable that you'd have a small lightning affinity. After all, you've been training lightning for 2 years now, so it is understandable that you'd have a bit of a lightning affinity, especially with what you can, do and that, your abilities within, with lightning and that. And, I'd have to say myself that you're probably the best, potentially the best lightning manipulation user that potentially is. Though that's obviously from my own knowledge, and there could be someone in Kumo or somewhere else in the elemental nations that could be better. I don't know. And from there, so as I said, from there, of course, Kakashi would somewhat perceived to do, or at least perceived to make 2 shadow clones, one to go with Sasuke, one to go with Sakura, and then he himself will go somewhat with Naruto to kind of train her somewhat in Art of Manipulation level 2, as I believe he probably doesn't have that down, or at least yet, so he'd go somewhat with her to, do that. And anyway, though, of course, from there, somewhat, 3 weeks or that, whatever. Anyway, from there, of course, the after that, Kakashi, of course, somewhat Hiruzen, would of course call him, or would, call these shinobis, as it would be the tuning exams. After all, it somewhat was be, about 3 months after, the Genin exams. Yeah, as they'd spent a month as, Genin, then the month-long Land Wave mission, and then, they were back for about a month before that. Yeah, of course, whilst Kakashi, would be off, talking with, these sort of other, something with Hiruzen, the other Jonin and that. And whatever. Team 7 would, of course, come across, the, some of the, similar kind of, the, Kanamo and, Sand sibling, thing would somewhat happen. And, of course, they would, somewhat, of course, because of, somewhat Hiruzen would, send some, information out to, the, whoever makes bingo books or whatever. You just, finish off, somewhat, of course, last name, so it'd be Naruto, Uzumaki, and a picture of her and that. And, anyway, so, of course, some of the Sand siblings, or more so the, just 2 of them, Kankura and Tamari, seeing, of course, the, seeing, somewhat Naruto, the best news, got a, somewhat, somewhat, pretty much, on site, just run, of course, they would be, because, they'd be somewhat, they'd, of course, underestimate her after all, as, that brother, because, something, that brother is, the one that was Jinchuriki and all, and, though, of course, doing something that, or at least month or 3 weeks more so, Kakashi did also somewhat teach them, or at least started to teach them how to kind of sense people's, chakra and that, as it was more so, of course, wanting to train Naruto in it, but it figures, it'd help all of them after all. And main reason, focus on Naruto is because he's already in the bingo book, of course, so being able to sense where people are at, and that is, would be would of course, give her a high chance of survival. Anyway, and yeah, so with that, so she'd know there'd be two people, up in the tree beside them. One she didn't know, and the other one she would know, that being Sasuke's chakra. And yeah, though of course, they would be somewhat arrogant up until, Sasuke, would simply, throw the stone and that, and then, Gaara himself would come out, and yeah, though pretty much just overall a similar, reaction, and overall just, it would pretty much go the exact same as in canon. And yeah, though from there, of course, they would go to the bridge, and about 5 or 10 minutes later, Kakashi would arrive, as he tends to now be about 5 to 10 minutes late instead of the 3 hours. And yeah, so from there, they would, somewhat, of course, Kakashi, would tell them about the tuning exams, and that he has, that he's enrolled them, somewhat into it, and would, give them, of course, the, slips. Naruto, or at least, all three would, thank him in their own way and that. And yeah, of course, from there, he'd tell them that it'd be in, back, in a week's time. And yeah, a week later, they would all appear in the, at the front of the school. Sakura, of course, would be a bit late, mainly being, somewhat the kind of one, the kind of, most unsure, but at the very least she could, that she still should potentially, do it. Somewhat at the very least, like they, somewhat, they sort of, has, Sasuke and, Naruto, and had, Naruto's take out, a missing, missing in with ease, or that, and can probably, take on really, kill anyone really, who's, just, massively underestimating her, which Sakura would probably guess is probably the entirety of anyone that's read her, somewhat entry in the bingo book. So yeah, and yeah, anyway, they would, somewhat end her, and of course they would all, notice the, slight genjutsu, that, and also they were only on second floor, not third, and well, yeah, of course, as, Sasuke, it'd be more so, of course, Sasuke in his pride, and that wanting to show off, and of course, from there, then, Lee would, of course, challenge both Sasuke and Naruto to a fight, and Naruto would just tone it down, as Lee would kind of somewhat ask, how, somewhat why, and that, she could take on, a missing nin, and she'd simply point out that if she was to do the same thing that she did with the missing nin, he'd be just as dead. He'd also be dead, and that, a taijutsu fight doesn't necessarily mean that one is, one is deadly. Though he wouldn't kind of understand / get it, though Sasuke, by all means, would still fight him and would be, beating up, would be, beaten up. And yeah, though something she was starting to, figure out was that, or at least something with lightning, she could boost, she could boost her reaction time, or not really a reaction time, but more so her physical speed with chakra, with lightning chakra, and that. So she was slowly, figuring out how to get even faster. And yeah, anyway, so yeah, with that, though somewhat she of course wouldn't shut off that, and yeah, though of course, Guy would end up showing up and, chastising, Lee, telling him off, and yeah, from there they would, leave, and Team 7, would go on to, face, obviously, Kakashi would tell them that, it was good that they all arrived, and that if, one of them didn't, cannon thing. And from that, pretty much roughly cannon would, like the first kind of stage cannon would probably happen. Well, yeah, it would go down pretty much similarly with maybe Naruto getting maybe being able to do a few of the questions, maybe at least, maybe 2, 3, maybe 4. But yeah, she knows she'd sort of have to cheat, but she didn't exactly know how or that. And yeah, anyway, though, overall, they would still, pass in that, and everyone that passed in canon would pass here, and from there they would, go on to the, forest, of course, the forest of death, where, similar thing would happen, or at least the, similar thing would happen, though the proctor would, throw it at, the kunai at Naruto. It'd probably be more so Kiba, or if, the proctor Anko did throw kunai at Naruto, the kunai would just be sailing, would just go, simply, would, somewhat in mid-air or that. So as it bared down, Naruto would just, suddenly, flip around and be sent back the other way with, something magnetic. And yeah. Though, but yeah, it would be more so she'd throw it at the keyboard or that. And yeah, besides from that, they would, of course, sort of once, it started, they would, end her. And, after, sort of a while, they would, of course, probably always pick up that, they're either being followed and something that would, go off, stating that, she would say need to go to the toilet or that, which, and yeah, would go off, but would instead, or at least, though, unlike, or at least in this time, would someone be able to very much knock the person out before you even, try to do anything. 1 minute, he's about to, pounce and knock, her out, and the next, he was just the one, somewhat being knocked out, though, and yeah, from there, should tie him up, drag, the person out, and after, wake the person up, and them, or at least Naruto, or at least somewhat, though, of course, he wouldn't necessarily, talk, though, after, a few shocks and some, a bit of torture, he would end up speaking, and revealing, what his team was and that, which, after a bit of, talking, decided Sasuke would perceive to, or at least, they would decide that, Sasuke would somewhat do it, and would, go and would grab the, the second scroll, and would come out and would give or at least both scrolls, but, yeah, instead of, keeping them, or at least, on him, he would give it, to Naruto as, like, he would give it, somewhat, like, unlike in canon, where he kept the scroll, he'd give it to Naruto after all, he could easily, kill anyone who dared get close, and or even electrocute them. So, yeah. Anyway, from there, yeah, they would, someone go on, of course, they would end up encountering, Orochimaru, they would end up, getting separated, Sasuke would end up, or Sakura would end up, finding Sasuke, and yeah, though, because Naruto, as you'd somewhat, land and get a bearings, of course, Snake, she just managed to just barely dodge, the somewhat snake trying to eat her, and, someone would perceive to jump up into the air, would grab kunai, and would perceive to throw it down, with someone using a, of course, pretty much using a somewhat, and pretty much, using a magnetic, magnetic abilities from, sort of lightning, to just, send it through the air a lot faster, pretty much near, going right through the snake's head and brain and killing it. And from there, she turned around and somewhat feeling where Sasuke Sasuke's Sakura's chakra kind of were, she'd run in that direction, and after a while, she'd end up, of course, arriving and very much, pretty much doing something, railgun and just, launching a kunai as fast as possible at, Orochimaru, who would just narrowly avoid, though he would get somewhat slightly shocked and cut. And yeah, of course, from that, he'd somewhat hiss from the pain. And yeah, of course, and something you'd, sort of realize, and, you'd realize the, being book entry, that he'd, had kind of dismissed was indeed, true. If she could throw it, that fast, and if not even fast, if she'd thrown it, if she could, have thrown it even faster, then, he could have been, more seriously, hurt. Of course, not really killed because of, his technique. But, yeah, he'd realise that he was now in a somewhat predicament. And as the fighting would rage on, of course, he couldn't exactly get too close to Naruto, as anytime he did, she'd very much let out a, lightning around her, which would either cause him to be electrocuted, well, shocked, or, kind of have, get away from her. And, yeah, as the fighting did rage on, Sasuke, and of course, Sasuke Sakura obviously would start running out of steam, once Naruto was starting to slowly run out as well of stamina. Would have a lot more compared to those two, and eventually Orochimaru would see the opportunity and would go for it. Even though he could sense Anbu incoming and had been for a while now, he would manage to sink his teeth into, Sasuke, placing curse mark onto him, but, he exactly wouldn't be able to, see it, fully form or that, as he'd have to immediately get out of there due to something, Naruto very much, he would just narrowly miss, or at least somewhat miss any vitals, though it would kind of get him in there, somewhat leg, taking a good gash through his leg. To somewhat hiss, though he would manage to get away. And yeah, from there, they would end up going, finding, a safe place to kind of wait, though they would think, speak and think about, just going to the somewhat tower. After all, it'd be safer. And after a bit of back and forward and back and forward talking, they would decide to, do that. After all, she's very much fine. And so, after a bit of, some rest, they would do so. And yeah, though, of course, sometime, the next day, of course, they would end up, getting, or at least they would probably end up getting ambushed by, the three that want to, simply kill, Sasuke. And, somewhat they would, of course, have read Naruto's, Bingo book entry and would, think it wasn't true. And, yeah, though somewhat almost immediately, of course, as they would, go to attack, they were all pretty much having, metal objects on them, so a quick pulse to magnetize all the metal on them. And, yeah. And from there, she'd, flip the polarity, dumping a load more chocolate onto it, increase. To which they would, 1 second, they were, about to simply, attack the, 3 of them, and the next they were being shot off, away from both, from, Sakura and Naruto and the knocked out, Sasuke. And, yeah, from there, they would, though, somewhat Naruto would, or at least Naruto would ask, would kind of, ask Sakura if, somewhat they should kill them or not. Or more so if she should kill them and all that. And after, and of course, as they would, slowly start to recover and that, Sakura decided that they should, prioritize, getting to the, place to which so they would, and of course, from there, Naruto would actually make two cell clones, one to pick up Sakura and the other one to take Sasuke from Sakura. And they would then jump into these sort of trees and would speed off. Though the, three would try and chase after them, but Naruto would manage to just, would be able to, somewhat outspeed them, and thus kind of get away, and they would make it to the tower, safe with Sasuke still only starting to wake up as they would enter, and though of course somewhat, Sakura, Sasuke, of course the cast marks, would, start rapidly, going around him, though Sakura would, of course, somewhat, give Sasuke a hug, all that, like she kind of would in canon, calming him down in that and bringing him back to his senses. And from there they would open the both scrolls, Iroka would appear, and they would, from there, Iroka would tell them what, it was said on the wall, and from there they would go up to the, some room, or at least, they'd be given a room to stay for the, remainder of the, second part of the training exams. Anyway, from there, a day or so passed, I think currently a day or two, and, from there, of course, they'd, be called down, to the, somewhat where everyone else would be, and, once, everyone would arrive and that, and the time would, finish, they would, Hiruzen would, start, talking, and, of course, everyone that would, and, everyone that, was there and canon would be there, and, anyway, so it is talking that would be like in canon, the first, chunk would go pretty much like in canon, the fights would go similarly, or at least, everyone's fights except for, of course, Naruto and Sakura's fights would go like in canon. Naruto, Sakura would end up winning. But it would sort of end up. I don't say she'd just end up just managing to pull the victory, but would somewhat end up, even though somewhat it'd be kind of classified as, Sakura's sort of victory, they would decide to call it a draw, as she would pass out a few seconds, like 2 to 3 seconds after, somewhat Ino would. So, even though it could be considered Sakura's win, they would consider it a draw, as both, were knocked out. And, and from there, Naruto's, of course, fight with Kiba would go very much differently, as Kiba, of course, somewhat he wouldn't know, and you'd probably say, none of the other kind of, kind of had, or at least, somewhat, somewhat joining that, our team, so team 8 and 10, and probably even Guy's team, well, I'd say I would probably know, because of, Kakashi and all, but I don't think Asuma and Kunai would really know. I don't think, Kakashi would probably really tell them after all. And even if they did, they probably may believe him, I don't know. Asuma may know from, his dad and all, but, yeah. Anyway, nevertheless, somewhat Kiba, wouldn't really know. And somewhat as such, somewhat as you, get, as you do, thing over thing, as he'd get, closer and closer, of course, he'd let out a quick pulse. And sort of kind of, magnetic, or at least would, sort of magnetic, of course, sort, aligning all the, or at least somewhat metal on him to, anyway, would magnetify all the metal on him, and would then, flip the polarity around. So going from a, somewhat north pole to then south. Well, no. Oh, yeah, it's, of course, with, his metal more aligned to, south. Of course, it would, of course, clash, and he would end up being thrown back. Or at least from kind of just how dense it was, 1 minute he was charging in quickly, and the next he was, going in, it, would somewhat kind of rapidly, almost seem like he'd hit a wall and would perceive to go in, be, would start, rapidly accelerating in the opposite direction. And, yeah, of course, other people would be, confused, what the hell was, going on, and that. And, yeah, of course, Caroline would be, surprised as, she's, of course, 1 minute she was, being cocky that, that, Kiba would win and all that, and the next, she's, dumbfounded, and looked at Kakashi, who would just simply give her an eye smile, and would somewhat simply say, or at least would just simply say to not exactly underestimate her, or at least his team. And, yeah, so from there, of course, or at least, somewhat, anytime you try and get close, someone just kind of send him back, though after a while she would decide to throw, or at least would eventually, start, or at least throwing a few kunai that would, she'd specifically, somewhat get them close enough where they would, cut into him, but not actually do any real, any true harm. So they would cut him and he'd, be bleeding, but, they wouldn't, bleed, go, take, they wouldn't be taking, she wouldn't be taking chunks out of him. And, yeah. Anyway, though, after somewhat a while and after a good, kind of magnetic push away from her, he would end up just being knocked out, and the Proctor would call, the fight in her, the fight in her, that, she won. And, yeah, from there, the other fights would go like in canon, and, yeah, of course, from there, the Proctor, they would end up, something they, then, you'd end up, telling them that they would have, a month to train for, the final part of their training exams, and, yeah. And with that, I'm going to end this part here, guys. Sorry for this part being shorter. I didn't really think much into this, annoyingly. But, yeah. Anyway, hope you guys have a good day or night, depending on wherever you are and whenever you watch this. And goodbye.